viewers, Rectangular back, this time with another review. Here from Hasbro we have the 6-inch Star Wars Black Series Darth Vader. So it's interesting that they kind of rebooted the numbers on the Black Series, because this one is number 2, which is kind of odd because I guess what they're doing is they're numbering them in each wave instead of a consecutive number for the entire series. So this is number 2 out of this wave. I was trying to see if there was a number on the prototype Boba Fett that I picked up from Walgreens. This is where this guy came from, but there is no number on that one, probably because it's an exclusive. So anyway, I don't know what the number is for Luke in the Jedi costume, Chewbacca, and I'm trying to remember, oh, there was the redone Sand Trooper in the black, has the black shoulder pad instead of the orange shoulder pad. So I believe that's all the figures in this wave. Anyway, so let's flip him around. You can get a view of the packaging. So if you want to read that, I can zoom in and you can pause the video. It says, after Darth Vader and Luke join forces to defeat the Emperor, Vader asks Luke to help him remove the mask that covers his face. And then in quotes, "Just for once, let me look on you with my own eyes." So, hopefully you can see that. Go ahead and pause it. Alright, so yeah, nothing other than that, other than the blue packaging design, and also don't remember if the original boxes had the Disney logo on there, so that might be new, I don't remember. Anyway, so there is the UPC if you want to write that down. And let's go ahead and crack him out of the package and get a closer look. So before we get into the figure, I wanted to go ahead and show the accessories he comes with. Here of course is his lightsaber with the red blade, and pretty well sculpted. The blade was a little bit warped in the package, or when it was connected to the hilt, it was not exactly straight, but yeah, nothing too insignificant about it. There you can kind of see how it's bent. Hopefully you can see that it's not perfectly straight there. And yeah, hopefully with a little bit of hot water it can bend it back into straight position. I'll take that off. And let's get into the hilt itself, or the handle, the saber itself. Silver, looks like it's, I want to say it's silver plastic. No, it's black plastic with silver paint. So you do have to worry slightly about the silver paint rubbing off, but since the black is on the outside, you'll have less worry about that coming off, since the hand is actually going to be touching these ribs before the actual handle. So there it is. There's the bottom. And do a little comparison. This is the lightsaber that comes with Anakin Skywalker. So there's no tab for it to attach to the figure like it is on the Anakin here. It's got the tab at the bottom, and it is slightly smaller. Not as much paint detail. There's no red button. It's just silver there at the top, and this one's got orange and red on it. So anyway, let's show his helmet. So the helmet does remove, and pretty good. It's got that kind of like smoke gray look to the lenses, so it does look very realistic that they are kind of translucent. Can't see out through them that I can see, but it is a nice effect, and doesn't look like they... Oh yeah, it does. Cool. So the hood of the helmet and the face are actually two pieces, so that's very cool. If you want to do the scene where Luke is getting trained by Yoda, and you can put Luke's head inside the helmet here, you can hopefully pull that off pretty well. So it is it's a little bit soft material. No real flaws as far as I can see. As far as the seams go, it's pretty nice. It is reflective, but it's not like blinding reflective, so I kind of like that, so that you don't have, you know, when you're shining your lights on it when you're taking pictures, it's not just a big bunch of glare. So it does have some matte quality to it, which I like. So there is silver there on the tip of the nose, and it's got some really nice detail as far as the vent goes. You can almost see through it, so really well sculpted there. No real flaws as far as the mold goes. It's very clean, and a lot of detail there on the inside, which, you know, they probably did not have to do. So that's very cool. You know, it's got like almost like circuitry inside the T. You can look at. Hopefully that's showing up on camera, but there's a lot of detail in there. So very cool. And they are all his parts. And let's go ahead and show the figure itself. Alright, here we've got the figure out of the package, and overall I would have to say he's pretty decent. My expectations were pretty low. I did not think it looked that good in the promo shots that Hasbro had done, or the press pictures that people were taking at San Diego Comic-Con when he was in the case there. But I think he works pretty well. He's good in scale. My biggest complaint is if you notice how wide his stance is, and that is because it is extremely hard to pose him due to the fact that the way he's packaged. I'm really tired of Hasbro, not just with the Star Wars Black Series, but with the Marvel Legends. They need to not have the packaging or the clamshell that the figure sits in so tight, because it ends up warping the figure. You know, this just came off the truck, hasn't been, you know, sitting in shelves or you know, factory floor or anything for an extended period of time, so it's pretty frustrating to get the figure. So he's kind of he's pretty much bow-legged in the package, so that's when you try to get him together. You know, he's very narrow down at the bottom, and then you know, warped outwards in the middle of his knees. So that's with his feet together. He does stand up, but gonna have to heat up those knees to try to get him back into a regular stance, because you can't have him just, you know, legs spread all the time. It looks kind of silly. The soft goods are quite nice. I really like his cape. It's a nice kind of a thick material, and they did some really nice stitching here at the bottom with an extra piece of material, so that you can actually curl it in and move it back, and it doesn't, you know, you're not fighting with it all the time. You know, a lot of these soft goods are too thick of material on figures from years past, and you just end up fighting with it the whole time. You can't really get it to pose. But this is a really nice soft material, and you can get it to do all sorts of different things as far as posing goes. It is pretty dark, so I like that as well. It doesn't look gray up opposed to his helmet there. So that's what he looks like from behind, and then if you lift over the cape, you can see his back. It does have soft goods all along the back there, and he's got these rubber plates. Nothing is removable that I can see yet. The cape is actually stitched into the top of his suit there. You can see there's a hole there for the stitching to go through. Let me get him a little bit closer there. So you can see it's threaded into the rubber armor on his chest. So I don't know why you would ever want to remove it. Maybe I can't remember in Empire Strikes Back when he's in the like his private chamber, if he has his cape off. I want to say no. And the chain is nice. It does kind of have a tendency to get stuck in between his head and his neck there in the gap, so you just want to kind of be mindful of that. Personally, I think it's a little bit big in comparison to the rest of the figure, but I don't really know that they could have avoided that. I don't know that they could get a smaller chain. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you could paint it slightly to try to dull the color a little bit so it's not quite so noticeable, but overall very cool. I'm glad it's just not a piece of plastic that they painted to look like a chain. It's an actual metal chain, so that's very cool. So like I showed before, you can remove the helmet, and this does come in two parts, which I already showed, and that's what Anakin looks like with his helmet off. Obviously old man Anakin. So very cool. I think it has a very good movie likeness. I think he could be maybe a little bit more wrinkled, but so far it looks like they got his eyes pretty well painted, and I do like there's different shades. He's not just one shade of gray. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but he does have gray and kind of Caucasian flesh tone, the kind of pink mixed in or swirled in there, and you can see the scars on the back of his head, where he got burned up in the volcano. So yeah, very cool, very good attention to detail there. I think the circuitry on the bottom there where his mask attaches to did a really good job there. I think in the movie those little like his microphones stick up a little bit higher in the movie, but I can see why they wouldn't want to do that with the figure, so that you're not able to see his mouth. And also the actor could have been just kind of slumped down into the helmet when he was talking to Luke. So otherwise very cool. I'll just go ahead and leave his helmet off for now and show the rest of the sculpt here. So I think they did a pretty good job with the switches here. The paint is pretty spot on. Looks like the top of that one switch that's red kind of missed a little bit of paint on the top there, but otherwise, and maybe the second red one there as well, but otherwise I think it looks pretty damn good. Looks like they did a good job of painting the buttons. That one's got a little bit missed the mark a little bit on that one button on the bottom there, but otherwise really good. And let's see, I was concerned that this rubber plate here for his crotch was too big. In all the pictures that I saw, it looked way too big, but this actually looks really good, so I might actually end up keeping this guy. And then we have the lower skirt. The belt doesn't look like the belt is removable. It is actually attached. The fabric does go through it. So I guess if you really wanted to, you could pull that off. You just have to be careful not to tear the material. And he does have a upper thigh rotation there, which we'll get into the articulation there at the end. But I think they did a good job sculpting the lines on his pants. There's no paint, it's all just black plastic. Do see some kind of a little bit of a swirl there in the boot, so that's about the only real manufacturing defect that I can see. He does have really nice ankle rotation, side to side movement, and he can actually go up a decent amount and all the way back. So it would have been nice to go have this cut a little bit higher in the front, and I don't think you need that quite so much. But the feet, fortunately I have the correct feet on mine, and nothing special about them, but they do look appropriate size. I think once you get your knees warped back into shape, you'll be able to stand pretty nicely on those feet. I think they could be just a tiny bit bigger, just because he's supposed to be a big guy, and he's not human anymore. These are robot body from basically the probably the mid torso down. So yeah, his gloves are kind of smooth on the inside and then textured on the outside. So don't know how movie accurate that is. I don't remember if they were supposed to be smooth on the outside as well. But yeah, so far the paint looks really good. Just a couple of little dings there on the shoulder pads where they were probably attached to the mold. Yeah, silver looks really good. Everything so far. The black here is a little bit off. You can see there it's kind of missing some silver there in the right side of his, or left side of his chest, and then the black missed the mark here and is going over on this side. So that's about the only real paint defect that's noticeable. Otherwise, you really have to look hard for anything. So actually let's get into the articulation on him. He can look up fairly well. He has quite a bit of a, zoom out a little bit, quite a bit of a ball joint there for the neck, and you can move it quite a bit. The chain, of course, keeps wanting to jump in there. Oh, and there's a little bit of a notch there, so I don't know if that's movie accurate as well on the front of the plate there. And you can look down fairly, not too far, but you can look down pretty well. Line of sight is like that, about a 45-degree angle, and then you can see the more detail on the back of the neck. And let's see here, so you can look 360, good rotation there. Let's go ahead and put the helmet back on. Actually, let's just put the faceplate on, just so you can see what he looks like with just the faceplate. So that's that. Exposing the back of the head, very cool. Just love more opportunities for posing and different setups. So that's very cool. Well done, Hasbro. And I was also concerned that the head wouldn't fit the body as far as proportion goes, but I think it looks really good. And let's see here. So getting in the arms, the shoulder pads are going to hinder the articulation going up, so that's going to be an issue. But rotation, he can rotate 360, and they're a single jointed elbow, so he does go 45, which is nice. 45-degree angle there, and he does have a wrist rotation with a hinge, so that's very nice. Of course, same on the other side, and he's got more of an open hand on here, which is nice. He can kind of like force choke people and hold his hand out, stuff like that. So I'm glad that they didn't just give him a fist, because very rarely do you see Vader with a fist. So very nice there. Let's see, he does have an ab joint, which works really well, actually. Better than the female Marvel Legends, that's for sure. So he does some good ab, rotation, and everything is soft. It doesn't, since this piece of material goes through the belt, it doesn't hinder the articulation at all. So you can totally get him in some really great action poses. And like I said, upper thigh rotation and double jointed knees, so you can fully move. There's no hindrance there on the articulation, although you never see Darth running. Legs going up is a slight issue because of this soft material. It does give, but it is going to flex, so you don't want to be bending on it too much, otherwise you might tear this material. So it is flexible, but I wouldn't overcrank it too much. So double jointed knees again, and great ankle articulation. Slightly better forward than up, but great. So glad to have ankle pivot on this guy. And let's go ahead and stick his lightsaber in his hand. And there we go. Of course, now his knees are bent. Alright, so there he is holding his iconic red lightsaber. And now I'm going to straighten out his pose a little bit, and we'll do a size comparison with a couple of other figures. Alright, so here he is back to back next to his younger self. And as you can see, he does tower over the Episode 3 Anakin quite well. So Anakin is taller than most of the other Star Wars Black Series figures, especially Luke and Leia, who is super tiny. So there they are back to back, and if you take off the helmet, you can see that Darth Vader is still taller than Anakin, so that is great because he now has an android body, or robot body, cyborg, whatever you want to call it. So would make sense that he is going to be bigger. Doesn't have to be confined to his former body self. So get them turned towards the camera here, and yeah, very good comparison. Of course, he's got the same issue with some warped knees out of the package, so still need to tighten him up a little bit. I'll zoom in, and yeah, I think he's very well in scale with other figures here, and I'll put him next to a couple of stormtroopers and let you take a look at that. Okay, so here we have Darth Vader next to two of his stormtroopers, and I think they look great together. It was a little bit challenging, I had to change the background so you could actually see the stormtroopers, because white against white is very hard to see. So I've already noticed some challenges as far as photography goes, where you want to put light on Vader, but when you do so, if there was a stormtrooper standing right next to him, they reflect a ton of light off the stormtrooper. So definitely invest in some good flexible lights, because you're going to need them if you're going to be doing ACBA with this guy. So anyway, hopefully you guys like the video, you share with your friends, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you will, and I always love hearing back from you guys, so please leave a comment below. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.